battle is over, I see. I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul. Now cometh the age of the stars. 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all, reaching the great beyond. Into fear, doubt, and loneliness, as the path stretcheth into darkness. Let us go together. My dear consort eternal.
Holy shit. Sorry, I had to keep my mic off. It was pretty late and I was getting frustrated. What a fucking game, though. I think in total it took me about 80-ish hours. I did a decent amount of side quests. I fucked up a few of them, so I couldn't complete them. Man, what a game, though. This is my second Souls game. My first one was Dark Souls 1. I played it like right before I bought this. This game has a lot more to it. Obviously I'm not that good at it. I mean, you saw me get just blasted in those fights, and I'll be editing out all of this stuff where I was getting blasted even harder. Just gonna be cutting it down to the successful attempt, but this took me like 4 or 5 hours, just this fight alone, which it really shouldn't have. But man, I could not like close it out versus the second phase. There were like 3 or 4 times I got it down to 1 or 2 hits, and I just could not get the last hit. He would just do an attack right before I would hit him. Just be just out of range or something like that. As for the game itself, I hope the music isn't too loud. As for the game itself, one of the best games I've ever played. That being said, definitely had some issues with it. Man, I'm pretty tired. It's like 6 in the morning. I've been doing this fight since like 1, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm not fully with it. The side quests, a lot of those were pretty obtuse. Sometimes, yeah, you could find stuff within the world, but other times it felt like you just kind of had to know or look it up, and it just seems a little weird. I'm sure, like, you know, there's people who could defend and say, oh, you can technically find everything inside the world just fine, yeah, but it would also take, like, 5 more hours to do each side quest, which I don't think is good game design. I think they're a little too obtuse. It was definitely also hard to keep track of where you were in each quest at any given time. Like, I had accidentally not skipped, but like, I had done parts of the Ronnie questline before I talked to Ronnie for the first time. And so for me, you know, I don't talk to Blythe at all, basically the entire time, until the final part where you kill him. I basically saw him in the Radon fight, and then at the very end of Ronnie questline. And so a lot of, like, what the intended route is for that don't apply to me, and it makes it much harder to get through it. That's just one example. I've seen my friends on the Fia questline. They didn't start it, and so they had done a lot of the story, and by the time they got to the Fia portion, like to the deep root, they'd skipped like half her questline effectively. And so it's just a little bit more obtuse then, because like you don't have any, you're not like progressing the area with the questline anymore, because you've already been there, so it's a little bit more confusing. So that was a little weird. Voice acting was really good. I was surprised by how good it was, but it was really good voice acting. I don't know if there was anyone that I really was like weirded out by. I don't know if any of them. I mean, the death noise isn't getting hit. Like, the protagonist is getting hit got annoying, but that's just, I mean, just don't get hit. It won't be an issue. I just couldn't do that. The weapon arts were awesome. They added a lot of diversity. In the Melania fight, I was using the bleed whip, and I applied an ice or cold spell, I guess is what it's called. And so I was like building up frost and bleed. It was really interesting. I'm sure there's a whole bunch more I could learn and do. If you want to know about my build, I started out as, at the very beginning I was using the hammer, like the pickaxe or whatever it is, and then I switched to the mace and was doing a blood flame build with that. Then I got the Uji Katana and just continued on the blood flame, and then I got the wing scythe and I started doing a faith dexterity build, and I kept that for about half the game. Once I got to Loretta, I started using her spear. I can't remember what the actual name of it is right now, just because of how tired I am. But I used that for the rest of the game, aside from the Melania fight where I used the cool whip, is what I call it. And so yeah, I had to swap to a dexterity intelligence build. I used a little bit of spells. I used that protection spell, the one that buffs attack and defense. I use that one all the time. And then I found out at the end of the game, the talisman I was using, I knew it increased my stats and then made me take more damage. At the end of the game, I finally discovered, it's like, wow, this really was not a worthwhile trade-off. You just take way more damage than it's worth. You're much better off just, you know, maybe grinding out a couple more levels to be able to equip everything and just dealing with it that way, because it made the later fights significantly harder. But yeah, it was really interesting, and I mean, there's like 1,000 other weapons, it feels like, that I could use. I didn't even really try the dual wielding power stancing, I think is what it's called. Dual wielding with the same weapon, or similar, the same weapon class, I guess. I didn't try that at all. I think that'd be interesting. I imagine I'll eventually do a New Game Plus run, do all the stuff that I didn't get to do in the first one, maybe get all the Steam achievements, just because I think this is one of the few games that deserves it, I think. Yeah, I thought the story was interesting. Maybe not the best telling of it, but it was very interesting. The visuals, it was gorgeous. The performance was good and bad at times, especially in large outdoor areas. There were a lot of issues that I wish I could go back. I wish they would have. If you do not start over now, you can choose to begin January 2 later at the table. Yeah, I'm going to not do that right now. I don't want to. I'd rather just stay here. It is cool that you can stay in the world after killing the final boss. That is interesting. Yeah, so I will save there. Yep, there's the begin journey too. Very cool. And I chose Ronnie this time just because I think that was my favorite side quest in the game. Also, I wasn't really thinking when I walked up to it and hit Y and A. I don't know why I thought it was going to do anything other than end the game. But it worked out.